Okay, so you all have sent in some really interesting stuff about engineered arts and the robots that they're building. So today we're going to dive into like the really cutting edge of humanoid robotics.
Yeah. Engineered Arts is a company that's doing some pretty wild things when it comes to human-shaped robots. And we're going to focus on, I guess you could say, their flagship robot, AMECA.
A mecha, yeah, and I like how in the stuff that you sent over, it's described as not just the world's most advanced human-shaped robot, but also, a platform for development into future robotics technologies. So
Right.
we're really talking about, kind of stepping into the future here.
Absolutely.
And we also have some stuff about some of their other robots like Mesmer and RoboThespian, and we'll kind of tie all that in.
Yeah,
But Emeka is definitely the star of the show.
for sure. And for everyone listening, our goal today is to give you kind of the core understanding of what AMECA is, what it can do, what it's built for, and really what its significance is in the broader, evolution of human-robot interaction. And also advancements in artificial intelligence. We don't want to get bogged down in too many technical details. We really just want to give you like a strong foundation.
Yeah. Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit because Emeka is it's referred to as the future face of robotics,
Right?
big claim, and a platform of the future.
Yeah.
Those are some pretty strong statements.
Very bold claims, but I think when you look at their core design philosophy, it starts to make more sense. Engineered Arts states that their kind of core belief is that human-like artificial intelligence needs a human-like artificial body, what they call AIXAB.
Hmm.
And this isn't just about aesthetics. It's really a belief that in order for a very advanced AI to kind of develop and interact with the world, it needs a body that is similar to ours.
So it's not just about like mimicking human appearance, but actually using that form factor as a platform to maybe better develop the artificial intelligence?
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay.
And AMECA is really the culmination of years of research into humanoid robotics. And it's built upon their, what they call advanced Mesmer technology. Think of Mesmer as their breakthrough in creating very realistic robot faces.
Right.
And that technology is integrated into AMECA.
Interesting. And we see too that Emeka, it's got kind of a dual purpose, right? So it's not just a research platform, it's also built to be kind of a, I guess a showpiece almost, right, at events. You can imagine seeing this robot in person is probably pretty wild.
Absolutely. And it's a great way to demystify robotics and to allow people to actually witness firsthand what is possible.
Yeah.
What's really interesting and something they emphasize too is the reliability of AMECA.
Hmm.
They say it's designed to function in the real world, not just in the lab, which really highlights the engineering rigor that went into this
Right.
to make sure that it can move and perform in an uncontrolled environment.
Okay. And something that really jumped out at me is this idea of modularity and upgradability. So this isn't like, a static piece of equipment that you buy and that's it.
Right.
It's not all or nothing.
Right. That's a key strategic advantage.
Yeah.
So AMECA's hardware and software is designed in a modular way. So you can think of it like Legos for robots. So you can, individual components such as, a hand or a head or what have you can operate independently and they can be swapped out, upgraded as needed
Ah.
without replacing the entire robot. So that has huge implications, not just for development, when you're first making it, but also for long-term, cost effectiveness.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It also keeps the platform kind of future-proof in a way because
Absolutely.
you're not constantly replacing the whole thing. You're just upgrading components as they improve.
Okay. So you mentioned something called Head in the Clouds, AMECA's cloud connectivity.
Right.
What exactly does that mean, and how does that enhance its capabilities? That's where things get even more interesting. So AMECA is cloud connected, and this wears for remote access to a vast amount of data.
Hmm.
This enables things like remote control, and you can imagine almost like being an avatar inside the robot, but also remote animation, and even running simulations remotely from anywhere with an internet connection.
So, like, researchers or developers could be working on Ameca from literally anywhere in the world.
Exactly.
Wow.
And this opens up, a huge amount of potential for collaboration and experimentation.
Yeah. And I've seen some of the videos of Ameca, and it's really striking how, smooth, I think is the word that they use, lifelike motion and advanced facial expression capabilities.
Hmm.
It's really quite human-like in its movements and its expressions.
And these natural movements and kind of subtle facial expressions are very important in establishing a sense of connection and rapport with humans. It makes the interactions a lot more intuitive, a lot less jarring.
Yeah.
And, if we want to tie this to some future trends, Engineered Arts envisions AMECA as, a key platform for developing interactions in the metaverse or in other digital realms.
Hmm.
So you could imagine, the robot being a physical manifestation of your digital presence.
Yeah, it's almost like a bridge between the physical and the digital. That's really interesting. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this AI development platform aspect.
Sure.
So it says that, AI and machine learning systems can actually be tested and developed using AMECA, and that this works with their Tritium operating system.
Right.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so this is at the core of what AMECA is really all about. While it does contain some, artificially intelligent software, its main purpose is to be a platform, to be a body for others to develop and to test their own AI algorithms on.
Hmm.
So Engineered Arts are masters of building, this incredible robotic platform, but they're basically saying we're providing you with the ultimate humanoid test bed for the AI revolution.
Yeah, so they're focusing on like the hardware and the basic kind of control software, but then allowing other researchers or developers to use that as a springboard to really advance the AI side of things.
Exactly. It's a separation of concerns.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, I guess we have to address this question. It always comes up when we talk about humanoid robots. Can it walk?
Right?
What does the material say about its locomotion capabilities?
They're very upfront about it. AMECA cannot currently walk.
Okay.
They acknowledge that creating a bipedal robot, one that can walk on two legs in a stable and dynamic way, is incredibly complex from an engineering perspective.
Yeah.
And while they have done research in that area, it's not a capability that AMECA currently has. But what's important to remember is that because of its modular design,
Right.
they consider walking a potential future upgrade.
Okay. So they're not ruling it out,
They're not ruling it out.
but it's just not there yet. Okay, so now, for anyone who's considering using a robot like a mecha, something that's this advanced, I think support and reliability has got to be, a major concern.
Absolutely.
What kind of insights do we have into that?
Yeah, so they place a big emphasis on both of those things. They really highlight the reliability of their robots, which is, inherent in their design. And also, they talk about the modular architecture that simplifies maintenance and upgrades. But what's really interesting is they also offer comprehensive remote troubleshooting capabilities. So their engineers can remotely access the robots, diagnose, and often fix issues.
Wow.
Even things like, the movement of an eyelid, they can fix that remotely.
Wow. Remote diagnostics and repair for a physical robot. That's wild. Okay, so we also have some really, glowing testimonials here from users of their other robots, specifically RoboThespian, which I think really speaks volumes about their commitment to support.
Absolutely. These firsthand accounts are a great, window into what it's like to actually work with this company. So, for example, Dr. Abdullah Amishal, praises the fundamental design of RoboThespian
Okay.
and the excellent support he received during, the initial setup and programming. Another example is Rose O'Reilly. She talks about the fantastic support she had while developing custom content.
Okay.
And also talks about virtual RoboThespian, which is like a virtual tool they provide to do user testing,
That's cool.
which is really valuable.
Yeah.
And then we have Dennis Bateman from the Carnegie Science Center, who's worked with RoboThespian for over a decade.
Wow.
And he really emphasizes the ease of, daily maintenance, how responsive the remote support is, and really how the robot has continued to engage visitors for, across multiple generations now.
Yeah. 10 years, I mean, that's saying something.
It really does speak to the robustness of the robots and also the company's commitment to support.
Yeah.
And then we have Lucy Seal, who worked on the IDA robot project, and she praises the overall quality, the reliability, how it performs, even in demanding artistic context, and the intuitive user interface, and really the consistent, outstanding technical support. And then finally, we have Brian Snelling. He talks about how straightforward the setup was.
Okay.
Just how easy it was to set up the robot initially, and also the success they've had in, creating bespoke content for their community engagement initiatives. So all these testimonials point to a company that really cares about providing not just a high-quality product, but also really good support for their customers.
Yeah. So it really feels like they're providing kind of the whole the whole package, the whole ecosystem,
Absolutely.
the support along with this advanced technology. So, I mean, besides AMECA, we see, in the material, there's a bunch of other robots that they offer. So
Right.
what can we gather about, those other robots?
So they have a range of, humanoid robots. They have a Mecha desktop, Ami and Ozzy desktop, which are smaller kind of tabletop versions. They have Mesmer, which, as we talked about, is really focused on the, hyper-realistic facial expressions.
You're right.
And then they have Quinn and also RoboThespian, which is their, kind of their longest running robot. So while AMECA is their most advanced, platform, these other robots cater to different needs and budgets,
Hmm.
within the spectrum of human-robot interaction.
So it shows that they have like, kind of a mature and diverse product offering.
Exactly.
And circling back to Airmet, one of the things that they emphasize is that, much like Mesmer and RoboThespian, it can be used to, wow your customers or visitors at an event or visitor attraction.
Absolutely.
So it's not just for, deep research labs. It really does have that application in public engagement as well.
For sure. It's bridging that gap between advanced scientific research and, a really captivating, I would say, public demonstration.
Yeah, and for those who might be interested, the material states that it is available for both purchase or event rental.
Yes.
So, they're making this, advanced technology accessible to, a wider range of users. We see a mention of Tritium, which is described as engineered art's powerful robot operating system that works with AMECA.
Hmm.
And I guess presumably there are other robots, so this is the software I imagine, that, it's the interface for actually controlling and programming these complex machines.
Exactly. Think of Tritium as the central nervous system or the brain of the robot, the software framework
Okay.
that allows users to, interact with and program its various functions and behaviors. It's the layer that translates, commands into actions and allows developers to integrate their AI algorithms with AMECA's, physical capabilities.
Okay, cool. And finally, I mean, this is just for those who want to dive in deeper. They do list engineered arts location. They're in Falmouth, Cornwall, and they list their company number, their VAT number.
Hmm.
So, full transparency there. Shows that they're, a well-established organization.
Adds a layer of credibility and transparency for anyone who's looking to partner with them or to become a customer.
Okay. So to kind of wrap this all up, what are the key takeaways for our listeners about AMECA?
So AMECA is a truly, cutting edge, I would say groundbreaking humanoid robot. It has this incredible modular design. It's upgradable.
Yeah.
It's cloud connected, which really opens up a whole world of possibilities for how we can interact with it and develop with it.
Hmm.
It has incredibly lifelike motion expressions, but its core mission is to serve as a sophisticated platform for the development and testing of the AI. It's not meant to be, an intelligent being right out of the box.
Right, right. It's not like an off-the-shelf AI. It's really a platform for others to develop that.
Exactly. The core takeaway here is this deliberate separation of the AI from the robot.
Mm.
They are masters of building the body, a highly capable, realistic humanoid body,
Yeah.
and onto which you can essentially grasp your evolving AI mind.
Interesting. Okay.
And then also, I think the consistent, really positive feedback we see regarding their, reliability and customer support is a very important foundation
Yeah.
for anyone looking to engage with this kind of cutting-edge technology.
Okay. So thinking about AMECA, as this incredibly advanced but fundamentally blank slate for artificial intelligence, it does make you wonder, like, what kind of future applications or interactions are out there. What do you think? What are the most compelling or maybe potentially even disruptive possibilities if we think about truly advanced AI inhabiting a form like this?
I think that's a great question and something for everyone listening to ponder. Imagine the possibilities when we have truly advanced AI,
Yeah.
coupled with such a sophisticated and expressive physical form like AMECA.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something to think about. So if you're interested in diving deeper, head on over to Engineered Art's website. I mean, there's tons of additional information, videos of AMECA in action, information about all their other robots and the technologies that power them. I think it's worth the trip.
It's a deep dive in itself.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. See you.